Mid-80s, the motorcycle world was clearly divided. Sport bikes on one side, laid-back customs on the other. And suddenly, someone decided to break the mold. In 1985, Yamaha launched the VMAX 1200. A bike that didn't corner well, didn't brake well, but accelerated like it wanted to break the very concept of time. That's where the concept was born. Muscle bike, street bike, more monstrous engine, more dragster attitude. And when Yamaha kicked the door down, Kawasaki didn't ask for permission. They came in with both feet first. In the mid-80s, Kawasaki had in its hands one of the most feared engines on the planet, the four-cylinder from the GP Z900R. Ninja, the bike that had humiliated Europe and Japan, won races and appeared in Top Gun. A modern, liquid-cooled engine, wild at high revs, with an acceleration that took your breath away. And then someone in Akashi had a dangerous idea. What if we take this superbike engine and put it in a cruiser? That's how the ZL900 Eliminator was born, a bike that broke all the rules of the time. It wasn't a classic cruiser, it wasn't a sport bike in disguise, it was an acceleration missile with wide handlebars. Kawasaki, without even realizing it, was helping to create the Japanese muscle bike concept, going head-to-head with the Yamaha VMAX, which had appeared almost at the same time as the other great beast in the segment. This bike had 908 cubic centimeters, a four-cylinder inline engine, 105 horsepower, liquid cooling, and could do 0 to 400 meters in under 12 seconds, with a top speed close to 240 kilometers per hour. It was a cruiser that launched harder than many superbikes. But what was truly impressive wasn't just the numbers, but how it delivered them. The ZL900 pushed violently from low revs, stretched out like a ninja, and surprised anyone who thought a cruiser was just for cruising. At stoplights, it was public humiliation. It left sport bikes, nakeds, and anything else next to it in the dust. So, the Eliminator ZL900 became the direct rival to the VMAX, Kawasaki's answer to Yamaha's wild muscle, bringing Japanese aggression, sport bike-like revving, and its own unique personality to the muscle bike movement that would define an era. The Yamaha VMAX went all in on emotional impact. A V4 engine with massive torque. From low revs, the famous V-boost system kicked in, opening additional butterfly valves, and the power delivery hit you in the chest without asking for permission. The chassis flexed, the geometry was basic, and stability wasn't its strong suit, but that didn't matter. The Max was raw power, American excess with Japanese engineering, a bike that wanted to scare you. And it succeeded. The Kawasaki ZL900, on the other hand, was the rational answer to the chaos. Its inline four-cylinder engine revved higher, pulled with fury, and offered a more progressive and controllable acceleration. It had better high-speed stability, a cleaner power delivery, and a sense of control that the BMX couldn't match. But didn't hit you all at once. It pushed you non-stop to speeds that, for the time, seemed like science fiction. In street drag races, the duel was legendary. The VMAX usually took off first thanks to its brutal torque, lifting the front end and leaving everything behind at the start. But as the meters went by, the ZL900 started closing the gap, maintaining traction, stability, and a constant push. Many races ended the same way, the VMAX ahead at the start and the Eliminator catching up, or even overtaking when the speedometer was already getting scary. That difference defined the DNA of both bikes. The VMAX was a kick in the chest, a raw, wild experience. The ZL900 was a well-aimed missile, a muscle bike with brains. It didn't need to intimidate with noise or vibrations. It did it with numbers, with consistency, and with a higher top speed. It wasn't less aggressive, it was more efficient. And that made it the preferred alternative for those who wanted muscle, but also control. And so the war began. ZL900 versus VMAX. It wasn't just a clash between two bikes. It was a clash between two ways of understanding power: brute force versus precision, chaos versus engineering. And thanks to that duel, the concept of the muscle bike was defined forever. Because if Yamaha invented the genre, Kawasaki refined it. And in that clash of titans, one of the most iconic and respected rivalries in motorcycle history was born. The ZL900 didn't fit into any existing mold, and that was its greatest revolution. It wasn't a classic cruiser because it didn't care for chrome or leisurely rides. It wasn't a sport bike either because its stance was low, long, and aggressive. Kawasaki, almost without meaning to, created a new category: the power cruiser. A bike with a laid-back look but a racing heart, designed to dominate at the stoplight and on the short straightaway. The Eliminator didn't want to go for a leisurely ride. It wanted to smoke everyone at the lights and be gone before its rival even realized what happened. For the first time, a moto cruiser didn't ask for patience, it demanded skill. It accelerated like a superbike and revved out the gears like a sport bike, and a brake late for a bike of its strata. It wasn't looking for tight corners. It wanted instant respect, and the market took notice. Thanks to the ZL900, other brands realized there was a hunger for pure muscle on two wheels. Suzuki answered with the GV1200 Medora. Honda struck back with the Magna V65. And years later, Harley-Davidson, swallowing its pride, created the V-Rod, a muscle bike with an engine developed together with Porsche. All of them are direct descendants of an idea Kawasaki dared to launch first, mixing extreme power with cruiser looks, unapologetically. And here's where the great paradox of the Z900 appears. It didn't fail because it was bad. It failed because it was too far ahead of its time. It arrived before its time. In 1985, the market still thought in simple terms. Custom meant cruising. Sport meant racing. The Z900 broke that mold and confused people. They didn't know where to place it. People understood the VMAX. Nice. No, the ZL900. The Yamaha was over the top, loud, muscular, intimidating. The ZL900 was more refined, more technical, more like a Japanese engineer. And that sold fewer posters. Aesthetically less iconic. The VMAX looked like a comic book beast. The ZL900 looked like a ninja disguised as a cruiser. It wasn't ugly, but it didn't scream legend at first sight either. Mechanical complexity. Big carburetors, high-revving engine, liquid cooling. It was more delicate to maintain than a traditional custom bike. And that scared off Harley or classic cruiser riders. Price and maintenance. It wasn't cheap. And maintaining a Ninja engine in a custom format wasn't economical. A lot of people looked but bought something else. The VMAX screamed at you, "I'm dangerous." The ZL900 told you, "Try me." And in the 80s, if you didn't scream, you didn't exist. Today, the Kawasaki ZL900 is no longer just a motorcycle. It's a statement. It's rare because few survived. It's sought after because those in the know want it. And it's respected because it was one of the few that dared to stand up to the VMAX without asking for permission. It didn't win the war for fame. It didn't sell posters. It wasn't a crowd favorite. But it helped create the battlefield where the whole muscle bike movement would later be born. The ZL900 was a pioneer when no one understood the concept. It was brave when the market demanded exaggeration, and it was smart when others bet only on brute force. Kawasaki didn't just want to race, it wanted to intimidate with style. In the end, true legends don't always win, but they leave deep marks, scars in history. And the question that still echoes today, what if it had arrived at a different time? And if you want to meet its great rival, the Yamaha VMAX, click on this video.